It's the thing that creates all of your pursuit and drive in your life, basically. So dopamine is just the chemical that would come into the brain to motivate you to go out and hunt or build shelter or explore new places, find food, all of these different things. So dopamine come into the brain, create the motivation. And then also in the pursuit of it, the dopamine continues to rise to make the pursuit of a goal feel good. And then when you achieve the reward, so you hunt down the animal or you build shelter successfully, then you get an additional dopamine hit as well that reminds and reinforces you to continue to do the behavior because it was advantageous to keeping you alive.
I see. So it creates the drive to do stuff and also a rewarding feeling when you've reached the goal.
Yeah, definitely.
And so dopamine is often talked about in the context of things like social media addiction, right? Someone's scrolling through TikTok all day. What happens in terms of your dopamine when you're doing this?
Yeah, and this is such an interesting area because dopamine is beginning to get like a bad reputation, effectively, as like a thing that we want to avoid. But dopamine is total heaven in its natural form. It feels unbelievable to be high on dopamine. And when you feel very excited about your life and productive with your work and successful and like you're achieving things, that is high dopamine. So that's a nice place to be. There is a way in which society has effectively hijacked it, because you can imagine for all this time that we're doing all these things, the peak of experience was these moments where we hunted down an animal, built shelter, met new friends and social groups. And so these were the best moments. And we effectively over time have realized, wow, that feels really good, that dopamine experience. And then gradually began to synthesize ways to experience that kind of pleasure, which is the creation of alcohol and cigarettes and anything that's fast pleasure to the brain. And how it basically works, the comparison between, say, hunting an animal compared to scrolling your TikTok feed is, when we were originally living on this planet, life's really hard. Like, it was really hard to stay alive, and that's just how it was. It was a lot of effort, and whatever created us, God or biology or whatever put us here, needed to make sure that it felt good to pursue things so that we felt good in the experience of it, so that we keep doing it, keep alive, create our society. And how dopamine functions is, if you have an activity where you put in effort, and then you're putting in effort and then you feel good afterwards, dopamine bubbles effectively will build in your brain. So you take exercise, for example, you start exercising, it's like, oh, this is quite a lot of effort, I don't feel that good, it's not even that enjoyable at the beginning. Gradually you start to feel better, and this goes on this nice gentle curve. Then you feel this rewarding experience during it and after it. When you have something like TikTok, it's, I'm bored of my work or whatever it may be, let's go into TikTok. And immediately your brain is experiencing pleasure. I think TikTok's the epitome of this because they've managed to nail this algorithm so well. So the brain suddenly goes from no dopamine to tons of dopamine. So rather than a nice gentle curve, dopamine spikes. And how our brain and body works, it just seeks to live in balance. There's that whole homeostasis concept. So it wants to be in balance. And because it spikes, it then goes, wow, what am I doing up here? So it has to go back below its baseline level effectively to get back to normal. And this big spiking and falling, these peaks and troughs, is what cause people to get into low dopamine states.
Right. So is it like, it's almost like the junk food shortcut to the thing we actually want, right? If I have an innate drive to, I want to find a mate, so I'm attracted to attractive women, and usually that would be a pursuit. It's like, I have to go out, I have to talk to someone, and it would be like this challenge of, can I get to the point where I'm actually interacting with an attractive woman, but potentially making her my mate, versus now I pull out my phone and it's just immediately sexy girl in a bikini dancing, and then the next one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm getting an immediate overdose of the thing I'm supposed to be pursuing over a longer period of time.
100%. That's exactly it. And effectively we're shortcutting all the things we instinctively desire.
Right.
And in the process of shortcutting it, we're not actually doing things that our body and mind require. Like, say the objective of finding a mate is ultimately at like a simple level, it's just to procreate and have more humans.
Yeah.
And when you have that instinctive desire, I want a mate, and then you see a sexy girl on Instagram or TikTok, and then at least you're watching porn, and then you're watching porn, and then that's how you're stimulating yourself. That is the opposite of advantageous to creating new humans. It's like the opposite way around. You're just getting rid of that experience for yourself. So anything that shortcuts it, like gambling is another big thing in this, junk food is another big thing. Gambling is quick money without having to really put in loads of effort, so it's like against the instinctive desire. Junk food is like, we obviously instinctively desire calories and we want calories in our body. That's just shortcutting fast calories in, and anything that goes against our survival, our body's just so clever, and it's just trying to say, please stop doing this because it isn't making me feel good. And that is what is creating all the crap in our minds.
Right. So the misery. So on the one hand, you were talking about like, because you have a spike, because it's almost like an overdose of the thing, the body like overcorrects the other way, it crashes below baseline, which is the exact same thing that happens with, for example, sugar, right? It's like if you imagine like you're walking, you're outside, you're walking, and you come across, I don't know, an apple tree, and you eat an apple, and okay, you're getting sugar along with fiber, plus you have to climb up on the tree. It's like physical activity. And then it's like very rewarding. Oh, it's sweet, it's sugary, this is good. But if you just reach for a candy bar, shove it in your mouth, you're getting way more sugar, no fiber, and it just creates this insane spike. And the response to that is it crashes below baseline, right? So in a way, it seems like equivalent, right? What's happening to your metabolic system when you're getting an overdose of sugar is similar what's happening to your brain, let's say, when you get like an overdose of these stimulants, these dopamine stimulating things, right? So like porn would be an example, or much of social media probably as well, right? So you're crashing below baseline in response to that spike. But what I'm hearing you say is that essentially this is almost like a safety mechanism where your body is going, hold on, this is actually not the thing we're supposed to pursue. So like the misery we're experiencing is our body saying, hey, this is not working.
100%. And this is how intelligent the system we live in is, because if it didn't make us feel crap when we're eating all the junk food and watching the porn and spending our life on social media, we as a society would just go more and more down that route, and then eventually just be zombies on the couch eating terrible food. And that for a procreation of society is not going to be very good. So we do have this system that's trying to really say, wake up and look at how all this stuff is affecting you. And even with that, we have this additional chemical that's actually purposely designed for this. We have endorphins, which I mentioned earlier, that are the pain relief chemical effectively. And you hear things like runner's high. And when you exercise, I feel this like natural high and these kind of things. So that's pain relief. We have its opposing cousin effectively called dynorphin, which releases into the system when the dopamine is getting super low, below baseline. And it intentionally stimulates psychological pain and discomfort to try and say something's not right here. And I think with this, like, you begin to see that this mental health challenge could be a little bit more simple than maybe we are giving credit, because a lot of this stuff is just throwing the brain completely out of balance, and it's just screaming at us, I'm going to make you feel anxious and low, until you do something about it.
I mean, that's really an eye-opening idea for me, right? Because thinking about it like that is like, oh no, the discomfort you're experiencing is a further healthy functioning of the system.
Yeah.
It's I've never thought of it like that before, but it's like that makes a lot of sense, and it's also a very positive message, really. It's saying, hey, this is a good thing, right? It's like the warning signs are going off.